Welcome to all viewers of Freedom TV channel. Thank you for being with us. This is our time, and here are the top news stories at this hour. I'm Yuri Kulinik in the studio. Hello? One person was killed and 8 others were injured, including 2 children, as a result of a Russian strike on a residential area in the Sinelnikov district of Dnipropetrovsk region. A cafe building, a private house, and cars caught fire. Rescuers quickly extinguished the fire. The Russian Federation also attacked Pavlograd. As a result of the shelling, infrastructure facilities were damaged, according to the Dnipropetrovsk Regional Military Administration. And the aggressor country did not stop there. In Nikopol, which is also in the Dnipropetrovsk region, the Russian Federation Army deliberately struck an ambulance that was transporting patients to the hospital. 3 medical workers were injured. Rescuers quickly transported the victims to a medical facility. And explosions from Russian strikes were also heard today in the Kharkiv region. In the village of Dokachevsk, as a result of a drone attack by the Russian army, 2 private houses, a gas pipeline, and civilian infrastructure objects caught fire. One of the Russian drones hit the building of the local fire department, causing significant damage to the fire station and equipment. A residential house also caught fire in the village of Ruskolozova. There are a total of 6 injured in the region, including 2 rescuers. Russia also attacked energy and port infrastructure in the Odessa region again. At night, the aggressor country launched a massive drone strike on the region. Fires broke out at the impact sites, and road surfaces, industrial facilities, and equipment were damaged. Rescuers quickly extinguished the fire. Fortunately, there are no dead or injured. On the night of Tuesday, Russia launched 1 Iskander-M ballistic missile, 6 S-300 anti-aircraft missiles, and 130 drones at Ukraine, according to the Ukrainian Air Force. Ukrainian air defenders neutralized 92 drones of various types in the north, south, and east of Ukraine. Missile and drone strikes were recorded at 14 locations. Peace in Ukraine, which Donald Trump consistently advocates for, is the only possible way forward. This was stated during a visit to Kyiv by U.S. Ambassador to NATO Matthew Whitaker. He held a meeting with the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelenskyy. The U.S. representative expressed support for the head of the Ukrainian state. He also emphasized that the war unleashed by Russia must end as soon as possible. Whitaker, leading the NATO delegation, also held talks with Ukraine's Minister of Defense, Denis Shmyhal. The main focus of the meeting was on protecting the skies from Russian drones and missiles.
The main topic of our meeting is Ukraine's needs for the upcoming winter. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and the Defense Intelligence of the Ministry of Defense presented detailed reports to our partners, drawing colleagues' attention to air defense systems and the construction of layered protection, air defense missiles, interceptor drones, and radars. Today, Ukraine not only needs assistance, but is also ready to share its experience in building air defense with allied countries. Free skies must be reliably protected from enemy aggression. Denis Shmyhal, Minister of Defense of Ukraine, on the social network X.
In the Russian Federation, after drone attacks, operations were suspended at a petrochemical plant in Bashkortostan and the Nizhny Novgorod oil refinery. This was reported by Andriy Kovalenko, head of the Center for Countering Disinformation at the National Security and Defense Council of Ukraine. Let me remind you, last night Russian social media channels reported explosions in several regions of the Russian Federation. In the Volgograd and Kursk regions, the strikes targeted substations. There, according to Kovalenko, power outages also occurred. Ukrainian drones continue to strike targets deep inside the Russian Federation, particularly facilities related to supporting the aggressor country's military. So, on the night of November 3rd, Ukrainian defense forces attacked the Saratov oil refinery. A hit on the facility was recorded, and a fire broke out in the area of the oil refining units. More about this and other strikes right now in a report by Yulia Granaskaya.
Ukraine is successfully continuing its campaign of drone strikes on Russia's strategic facilities. On the night of November 3rd, as a result of the strike on the refinery in Saratov, a fire broke out at the facility. A hit was recorded in the area of the oil refining units. Let us recall, the Saratov plant is one of the oldest in Russia. As of 2023, it was processing nearly 5 million tons of oil per year. It's not just Saratov. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reported strikes on a number of Russian army logistics facilities.
Fire was also directed at the occupiers' logistics facilities in the temporarily occupied territory of Luhansk region. Specifically, a warehouse of material and technical supplies was hit in the settlement of Roskoshin, as well as a mobile stock of fuel and lubricants in Dalshanskoye. The defense forces are systematically implementing a set of measures to strike at critical elements of the military-industrial base of the terrorist state, with the aim of depriving it of the ability to continue its aggression. From a statement by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine on Telegram.
On the night of November 1st, Ukraine's defense forces also struck the Tuapse oil refinery in Krasnodar Krai. As a result, the oil loading infrastructure of a Russian federal-level seaport, located on the Black Sea coast in Tuapse Bay, was hit. This terminal is one of the largest in Russia. According to a recent review by the Carnegie Endowment, an American think tank, Ukrainian drones have repeatedly struck 16 major Russian oil refineries, which accounts for about 38% of the country's nominal oil refining capacity. These deep strikes have given Kyiv the initiative at a crucial moment. The US and Europe are tightening sanctions against the Russian oil industry. Even though Kyiv's request for American long-range Tomahawk missiles has stalled, writes Euronews. Meanwhile, Kyiv continues to improve its own weaponry. In just 1 year, the range of Ukrainian drones has doubled from 500 kilometers to 1,000. Among the main models is the Lidii drone. Its production cost is about $55,000, which is dozens of times cheaper than the air defense systems Russia uses to try to shoot them down. A greater flight range allows the Ukrainian armed forces to independently strike deep into Russia, as well as change the geography of the war. Now, it's not safe in the Russian Federation.
This is a well-calculated, precise, and rational campaign designed to weaken the Russian war machine and force Moscow to end the war more quickly. In the future, Ukraine's long-range arsenal will serve as a deterrent package and a guarantee against any new Russian aggression. The war that Russia unleashed against Ukraine is now returning to where it came from. And that's only fair. The sooner the Kremlin understands this, the sooner they will make the only reasonable decision to end this war. Andriy Sybiha, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine.
Ukraine's enhanced long-range strike capabilities are causing real damage, forcing the Kremlin to import fuel and limit exports, according to the president of Ukraine. Volodymyr Zelenskyy reported that the Russians have already lost up to 20% of their gasoline supplies directly as a result of Ukrainian strikes. In addition, Volodymyr Zelenskyy noted that Kyiv has already used the Ukrainian cruise missile Flamingo 9 times to strike strategic targets in the Russian Federation. Let us recall that its range reaches 3,000 kilometers.
The scope of sanctions is expanding. Losses of the Russian war machine are also increasing. Moreover, we are increasingly using not only Ukrainian drones, but also our missiles. They are performing well. I thank our manufacturers.
Interest in Ukrainian military tech sector is constantly growing. For example, the defense conference in Ukraine this year gathered about 5,000 investors, compared to 1,000 in 2024. Foreign investors are actively investing in Ukrainian companies developing drones and defense technologies. For example, the American fund Ondas Capital announced its intention to invest at least $150 million in technologies that have been tested in combat, mostly Ukrainian ones, according to the Wall Street Journal. Yulia Graniskaya for Freedom TV channel.
Meanwhile, Atesh agents carried out a sabotage operation in Bryansk and cut off power to the regional FSB headquarters. The Partisan set fire to a power transformer that supplied electricity to the central building of the service. Notably, the operation was carried out during a comprehensive inspection from Moscow. At that very moment, the FSB leadership in Bryansk was reporting so-called full control over the situation and ensuring security in the region. The Atesh group emphasized that the power outage at the peak moment caused real chaos and panic among the inspectors and local leadership. Meanwhile, in temporarily occupied Sevastopol, a Russian small anti-submarine ship caught fire. This was reported by the monitoring channel Crimean Wind. The day before, they reported that a vessel of the Russian Black Sea Fleet was smoking at the pier in Sakharna Bay. At first, they couldn't identify the type of ship, but later it was determined to be a small anti-submarine ship of the Albatros project. There are 4 such vessels in the Russian Black Sea Fleet. 2 of them were evacuated last year to the base in Novorossiysk, while the other 2 remained in Sevastopol. Poland has decided to launch its own drone wall without waiting for the completion of European Union programs, Bloomberg reports, citing Poland's Deputy Defense Minister Cezary Tomczyk. Thus, Warsaw has announced the launch of a project aimed at protecting the country from the Russian drone threat. The system will include technologies for detecting, suppressing, and destroying drones. The first elements of the system are planned to be put into operation in just 3 months. It is expected that the system will be fully operational within 2 years. The outburst by Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova regarding the collapse of part of Rome's Torre dei Conti Tower showed just how far Moscow has fallen. This was stated by the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, according to the news agency ANSA, citing sources. The Italian Foreign Ministry called Zakharova's remarks, quote, dirty and disturbing, and noted the depths of vulgarity into which the leadership of the Russian Federation has sunk. Let me remind you that the day before, in the historic center of Rome, not far from the Colosseum, part of a 29-meter medieval tower collapsed. To this, Maria Zakharova responded by saying that Italy will collapse entirely if it continues to support Ukraine. No one in Italy, absolutely no one, would ever think of rejoicing or speculating about an incident, a tragedy in which we Italians are still involved. Italy will always, under any circumstances, express solidarity and friendship with the weakest, those in difficult situations, those under attack. That's why we support the Ukrainian people, because we are Italians. This was reported by ANSA, citing sources in the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Subscribe to UATV English and stay updated on the most important events, top news from Ukraine and all over the world, in-depth analysis, exclusive reports and interviews, all on hand in our channel. Join our community of viewers and stay tuned.